All right. Today is Pontiac Day. My hood ornament. So, back in the spring, one of my previous videos, I changed out the radiator on this, put an aluminum rad in this swapped out the factory rad for an aluminum rad. And when I dumped the antifreeze, it was pathetically dirty, and I'm pretty sure it got mixed green and red, and it just turns into mud and just an ugly mess. So I flushed the cooling system out, and you'll see that on the previous videos. But because I didn't have enough coolant, I just to refill, I got mostly water in this thing. It's probably 20% antifreeze, 10% antifreeze, 90% water. Where I live in Saskatchewan, that's just not going to cut it in the winter, and we're getting close right now. It's September 25th, even though yesterday was 31 degrees or like 90 degrees Fahrenheit, and today it's going to be up to 26, which is like 80, 82 degrees or something like that, whatever it is. We're going to get cold here, and it's getting cooler at night. So I got to get this antifreeze up to spec here, which I got to get it 50-50. So what I got to do today is I'm going to dump the coolant, and I've got my antifreeze here. So I've got concentrate, and I got 50-50. So what I'm going to probably do here is I'm going to dump a jug of this in and top it up with this, because I'm not going to drain the coolant in the water in the actual engine block, just the radiator and whatever comes out from the water pump. I'm going to dump the lower rad hose, crack that open, and dump that out. So and then I'll adjust it as I need to in order to get it up to 50-50, which could take a couple of trips. It'll be good enough until winter really hits, but we'll adjust it as it goes. So first step here is we're going to check the coolant level, or at least the antifreeze level, as far as temperature goes, freeze point, and then we'll do a before and after. So let's get that hood open and see what we're dealing with. All right, now there we go. Haven't driven this for a week, or a little bit more than a week. Here I've got my new antifreeze tester. I've got an old one around here somewhere. There it is. But it's faded out pretty good. You can't really see much on that anymore. 50-50 being yeah, so you need it up here on the scale. So this one here is new. No guessing. All right, so let's get this off. Put this in here. Okay, so where it needs to be. So we are at basically minus, well, it's better than I thought it would be, minus 20, minus 18, minus 20. But what we need is up here. Let's level. So we're at like 0 Fahrenheit, minus 18 Celsius, which is still better than what I thought it would be, but plus 10 Celsius Fahrenheit. Yeah. Okay, so what we're going to do, I'm just going to put that back in there so I don't spill any more on the floor than I have to. I'm going to move this car out. 2 reasons. One is I don't want to make a mess on my floor if I spill anything. And 2 is my wife is working next door in her art studio. She's an artist, which is wonderful. But she doesn't like the noise of the car and the stink from the exhaust. So I'm going to be working on this thing outside, which is not a bad thing because it's pretty nice out. So we'll just cap that off. There we go. Lower the hood. And I don't know whether I got the keys in this thing or not. Nope, I got to get my keys. There we go. And we'll move this thing outside. That's been sitting for a while, so kind of get to see what it's like to start on a coal engine with dual carbs and cam and all that kind of good stuff. Turn the fans off. So just going to crank it a bit to get fuel in the carburetor. There. Come on. All right, we'll get this clamp done here. And we'll let that drain. There we go. Some of it's missing, but I got 90% of it in that can and in the tray, which is why I didn't want to do it in the shop. So we'll let that drain for a touch here, and then we'll seal it up and start pouring stuff in there. Okay, so antifreeze is out, pan, or the lower rad hose is on, it's tight. We're going to put the straight concentrate stuff in. Trick I saw on the interweb, use this to cut this, and no poking holes. It actually works. So I'm going to put a jug of this in and then top it up with 50-50 and see where we sit. Too strong works against 2. It'll get sluggish or get slushy if it's too heavy. So you don't want it heavy on coolant. But with what's in the block, this and then a top up, I'm thinking will be pretty safe here. Okay. So let's get a light here on this thing and see where I sit. Okay, it's about halfway up on the rad, so I'll put this other can and jug in here. See where that gets us. This isn't a full jug, but it should be enough. Oh, almost at the top. So we'll start the engine here, let it drag down, suck some stuff in there, and then top it up as necessary. Grab the other can here. Yeah. I'm gonna I'm going to top it up with the heavy stuff. Now first we'll start it, let it run, let it burp. It's still settling in there. Okay. Took it down quite a bit. So we're going to top it up. Tidbit. I got nailed in my Camaro with having too loud of an exhaust. So I've got a decibel meter here. This is on a Pontiac. And this is idling at what? 1500 RPM. I'm at 100 to 101. You're allowed 101.3. So I'm just barely kissing the edge here, but this car at 102. So this car would theoretically fail if this is accurate, if this decibel meter is accurate. I think it's fairly close. So on the Camaro, we'll measure that one. And I've ordered resonators for that, so that'll be the next big project, is I got to redo the exhaust. I'm going to put the resonators on it, and we'll do it before and after with the decibels. This one here right now, I could get a ticket. I did get a ticket. I got a $115 ticket. Okay, we're starting to push out here. Thermostat's open, it's 180 degrees. I don't know if you can see that. So it's at 180, that's when the thermostat opens. So I'm gonna let it circulate a little bit, put the cap on it, and oh, there. Cap on it so it doesn't make too big of a mess. Too late, it's already a big mess. And then I'll shut it off, let it sit for a bit, and then I just want to get the water circulating through there a little bit more. So we'll catch up in a bit. so thermostat opened. Here we're gonna check, see where we're sitting. This is boiling point, freeze point. As we are at minus 20. Well, it didn't. Kind of hoping it would go up a bit more than that. So I'm gonna have to drain some out and add more straight fluid into their coolant. Okay, well, back to work. Instead of doing it on the hose there, I'm going to do it at the drain here and let out a little bit at a time. But I could probably do with a jug in there. So let's just double check this again. Freeze point. Yeah, minus 23. So I want it at minus 35. Minus 40. Boiling point is 260. Thereabouts. Okay. Now, just for comparison's sakes, I know that the coolant in here in my Beaumont is good for winter because I've never had any issues. Let's see where this sits just to make sure this tester's good. Yeah, so that's where you... This is good to minus 30 Fahrenheit, which is a little light, but it's not bad. You don't get minus 30 that often. It's not like it's going to freeze right at minus 30. Let's just see this one. We'll be able to tell the higher it is up here. The better, obviously. Just make sure the gauges read the same. Yeah. Okay. So a little bit more work to do here. We'll drain that. I'll add probably another better part of a jug in there. So we'll catch up when we get that done. Okay, I got topped up now. I'm going to cap it and I'm going to run it in the garage here. I'm going to run it a little bit here and get the oil warmed up in it. And we're going to do the oil change. And then if the pressure's down on this, then we'll check the freeze point on it. Okay, so that's good. All right, so now time to get dirty. So we'll catch up to you once I get this thing up in the air. Okay, so I want to hit the road here, get some heat into the engine oil, actually get the coolant circulating properly, and then we're going to do an oil change here. So go for a bit of a ride in the Pontiac. So that's a B&M Quicksilver ratchet shifter. Typically this time of the year we're dealing with rain, snow, shitty weather. This is a nice bonus. But that lousy weather can hit at any time, so you got to get everything ready now. Can't let it go. So we're running at just a bit above 180, so it's 180 thermostat in there. So that's open. I got the fan on. Kind of go around the block here on the highway a touch, and then getting back to the muffler issue. It's kind of a bit of a crock because I got pulled over just idling around the corner, and you know the cops are doing a blitz, so they're doing a, you know, thank you for driving safe and all that kind of crap. But man, if they can give you a ticket, they're gonna do it. One guy apparently got pulled over, same reason, said your truck is pretty loud. There was a cop from a different city. See, when they do these blitzes, they bring the police in from, you know, RCMP, Regina Police, Saskatoon Police, and he got pulled over by a Saskatoon cop who probably really couldn't give a shit and said, hey, nice truck, have a good day. I in turn get pulled over by an RCMP, that's a traffic cop in this area, and he's got to give me a ticket. So anyhow, hang on here. This is still a fun car to drive though. I mean, theoretically this thing may not pass, cruising along it's not loud, but you're in town, you're idling around, it can be pretty, I guess it's loud. You don't hear it in here, but it'll normally when they have these blitzes on, I don't drive my cars, but I kind of got caught because there wasn't a blitz in the morning, and then I was coming home from the gym, and sure enough there's motorcycle cops all over the place. And typically what I've seen is if you see motorcycle cops and they're flashing their lights and they got people pulled over, then there's going to be a blitz all over the place. So anyhow, it's only a matter of time. I mean, I drove that car for 8 years as it was with the loud mufflers. I put bullets on there as resonators. It didn't really do much, but I've got these other resonators that are permanent. Okay, I'm just pulling up to the garage here and bring it in and get the front end up, get the oil change in this thing. Okay, we got the car jacked up and gonna dump the oil. This battery's only got 25% left in it. These GoPros are okay, but man, they suck power. Now, you can watch me make a mess here. Maybe, if you can see this, who knows? As I can. So there's going to be a drip here, and then it's going to shoot out there. So I'll kind of capture it as best I can. And of course, I'm going to miss. I'm just going to make a mess. Oh, look at that! Jesus, like I've done this before. Okay, so last video, I was looking for my drain plug for the Camaro, and it's got a magnetic end, and it was on the creeper. This one doesn't, so I'm setting it right there so I don't forget. We'll let that drain, and I got to poke a hole in the oil filter and drain that thing before I take it off. In the meantime, we'll get the oil ready. And this oil doesn't look all that bad, considering it's got about 5,000 K on it. Looks pretty clean, so we'll do that. We'll probably lose the battery in the meantime, but until that happens, we'll keep filming this incredibly interesting and informative video. Or not. So that's the filter I'm using. Fleetguard LF692. So that, I got to fill that out. It holds over a liter, 2 liters I think, and then 4 liters I put in the jug. So we'll do that, and then when I get ready, we'll go for that. So that's the oil I'm going to be using, which is Rotella T6, which is a 540 full synthetic. And in this jug here, I got a little bit of what do I got here? Half a 600 milliliters, so a little bit better than half a liter of 1540 semi-synthetic. I'm just going to use that, put this stuff in there, and I want to get rid of this anyhow. And then whatever, if I have enough, great. If not, then I'll just top it off with the other stuff. It's an old engine. Not old, but small block Chevy, so you can run syrup in these things, and that'll work. The other thing, when I put my fans on, I just had it hooked right to the battery and to the switch, but not to my ignition, and I couldn't find a power source underneath, or at least in the dash, under the dash. So what I did was I unhooked the washer pump cable wire harness from the washer pump, because I have a jobber one there, and ran my wire for the fan into this, and now it shuts off with the ignition. So if you're looking for a wire for doing this kind of stuff, or a power source, that is a good source. You can just splice into it if you have to. Well, so much for using this stuff. It's actually full of used oil. So I'm going to go with the 1540 semi-synthetic. I guess that means that when you're using this as a capture can, put it with the old stuff, not the new stuff. Luckily I didn't pour any into the oil filter. Okay, so that's full. That takes a liter and a bit, and I got 4 liters in there. We'll fill it up. I'm just draining the filter now on the car, and we'll fill it up and put it on the ground and check the levels. Okay, so I've got the rad open here. Let's see where we sit with the coolant before I put the oil in the car. This is boiling point, freeze point. Well, we're getting closer. So minus 29, minus 25. So I'm going to drain a little bit more out of here and fill it up with straight coolant. So while it's in the air, I'm going to do that. Then I'll check it. I'm going to drive it home, and then I'll check it once it cools down, give it a good run, see where it lands. Okay, oil change is done. Coolant I did have to adjust. I had barely enough. I can probably have to top it up when I get home, but didn't make too much of a mess. And we'll call it quits on this one. So stay tuned for the next one. Will be modifying the exhaust of my Camaro. That'll be a bigger project. but a fun one because I get to use my welder. So catch you next time.